Doug Coy, so what do you think.com? Well, we're talking about the war of words. Now, you know what we're talking about. I mean, words form images, right? And words are containers. They can contain faith or fear, discouragement, encouragement, and we are a sum total of what we think about, and hey, we're a self-fulfilling prophecy. We often prophesy out of our own mouth the way our life's going to be, according to what words have come into our lives and taken root into our lives and formed what I call self-image. Your image is developed by the words that you take in at a very early age. Really important to understand that. When I was a young boy, I'll give you an example. My father was in the military, World War II. He was a chaplain. Worst job in the world. He was in some of the toughest battles in World War II. And he had these young men, and you know, they were just young guys, 19, 20, 21. They go into battle. My dad would often pray with them and counsel them, and the next thing he knows is they're coming back in a body bag. And my dad had to write letters home to the parents to tell them that their son had just died in the battle. And it just racked my dad up. I mean, here you are, you're having this relationship with a group of young men and helping them out, and the next thing you know, some of them are dead. My dad saw terrible things in the war. He saw a young boy picked up, thrown up in the air, and caught on a bayonet of a rifle. My dad just could not even hardly talk about the war. So later on in his life, when he got home, he would have these terrible nightmares. And as a young boy, 6 or 7 years of age, I can remember being woken up by my father with these nightmares going on. And I'd run in and I'd say to my mom, "Mom, what's going on?" She said, "It's your dad. It's the war. It's the war. He's remembering. He's reliving the war." And I could just see that look on my dad's face, that I can't even describe it to you, as he was trying to come out of this nightmare. And I thought, man, I can't imagine anything in life worse than what my father went through. And I know that hundreds of thousands of young men are going through it today. We have wars going on all around the world, and an imprint being put into their heart, into their soul, about life, about war, and they'll never be the same again as long as they live, unless something like a miracle happens. So in my life, I grew up with that, and I said, I don't want to go to war. I got into college, and next thing I know, I got a draft notice. I got married when I was 19. My wife was 18. We were ready to get married when I was 25. Now that's another story we'll talk about. And all of a sudden, I got this draft notice, and the whole images of war came to me. Now we'll talk more about that in the next section. But what I want to tell you is, you got to be very careful of what you allow to imprint into your life, because what was imprinted into my life was horrific. And I mean, what my dad was living was a nightmare. I took that nightmare and I started living that same nightmare. I had such a tremendous fear of war, such a tremendous fear of the future, such a tremendous fear that I would be in Vietnam, and I could see myself getting killed over there. I could see friends of mine getting killed in Vietnam. I knew it was going to happen. I would start to put these pictures into my mind. I'd wake up in a cold sweat. I was doing what my father was doing, and I hadn't even been to war yet. But I was just living through his experience, and I had taken his experience into my life. You know, you got to battle those things. And I'll talk to you about how I did that in the next section, because it's really quite powerful. So this is Doug Coy saying, so what do you think? Your words are powerful. They will determine success or failure in your life. We'll talk more tomorrow.